So hello everyone and welcome to my talk about rolling in the deep link, pun intended. So we will be talking about deep links. And I really appreciate that you all came here. I didn't expect such a full room as this is almost the end of the conference. And also there is someone a bit more known than me giving a talk in Hamilton, but thank you for coming. And I would like to start with some words about myself. So my name is Alicja Ogonowska. I am from Gliwice in Poland, and I've been working as a mobile app developer since over 7 years now. And I started as a native Android developer, and then I changed to Flutter over 3.5 years ago, and I never regretted the change. Currently, I'm working at a Polish company called Equico. And if you would ever like to reach out to me, then I usually use just my name and surname as a handle on social media, so I'm pretty easy to find. And in today's talk, I would like to first tell you what are the deep links and why do we need them, or actually do we need them, we will see. Then I will tell you how to handle the native setup in Android and iOS. I will show you some standalone solutions to handle deep links in your mobile apps. Then I will tell you something about available third-party SDKs. And then we'll summarize it and you will be almost ready to go home. So first of all, what is deep linking? And deep linking is a technique that allows the app to be open to a specific place inside this application from the external source. And this external source can be a link on a website, in an email, text, push notification, or even from another app. And there are some common use cases and types of apps that should be using deep linking. And first of all, I would mention e-commerce apps, because it's very important that the user will be able to navigate directly to a given product or share it with their friends. And if you are talking about sharing, almost, I think, every social media app should implement deep linking so that users can share content and drive more action inside the application. And also, if you have a website that serves similar content as your mobile application, then deep linking is a must. Also, if you plan to advertise your apps, then sooner or later you will probably also be asked to do that. But basically, I think it's a good practice every time to allow this navigation. You may ask yourself, okay, but why? If the user will click on the link, in worst case, it will just open the mobile browser. So what is so bad about it? And this is because our users are a bit lazy, and also they are easy to get distracted. So if they are clicking on a link and they have the app installed, they expect to be taken directly to this content. If that doesn't happen, they will just forget what they were trying to reach and just switch to another app, and you may just lose them. If you provide them an easy navigation to content in your application, they are more happy. And if their experience is better, they will spend more time in your application, so the engagement grows, and this leads to a better retention. Also, your marketing team will be more happy because the ads that they will be spending will actually result in some conversions. And also user like simple navigation, so they don't want to have to navigate manually to some content if you can provide an easier and more direct way. And also, it's by using deep linkings, you can actually know where your users are coming from. So you can use that to analyze your traffic sources. And also you can try to customize users' experience based on how did you get them. We'll start with defining what a link actually is. So each link consists of a scheme, a host, and a path. And actually, this is also a link that consists of a scheme, host, and a path. It just uses a custom scheme. And in general, we can say that this is the structure of a link. It can also have port, query parameters, and fragments which point to a specific section of a website. There are two types of deep links that I want to tell you about. So first of all, we have the custom schemes that I mentioned before. So it can be just anything that you will define. And in iOS, it's called just custom URL schemes, while in Android, it's called deep links. And it's easy to set up because you just need to add a few lines to your application code. But on the same time, it doesn't provide a very good user experience, because if the user doesn't have the app installed, they will just see an error, and that is not something the users like to see. Also, any other app can claim the same scheme and try to work on your links. So this is not a recommended solution. And the recommended solution is using the HTTP, HTTPS format. So it's actually just the normal kinds of links that we are used to. And in Android, it's called Android App Links, while in iOS, it's Universal Links. I really wanted to prepare this slide because before this presentation, I was always having it hard to remember which one was which, and now I know it by heart. And this actually provides a seamless experience, as this is just a normal link. So if the user doesn't have your app installed, they will just land on the website. So as we said before, not very good, but yeah, we have what we have. And also this is secure because this also requires configuration on the server. So you are able to confirm that this is really your app, and only this app can handle links from your domain. So we'll start with Android, and here all the magic happens in Android manifest. So you need to add an intent filter and specify your scheme that you want to use. So you can either use HTTPS or the custom one. Then you need to define your host, so your domain, and also some paths that you will be accepting. And you can either define it by a path, and this is actually the exact path that needs to be matched, so it's not super flexible. You can also use path pattern, and I think this is like it covers most cases, as it also allows you to use some wildcards, like a period and an asterisk. So for example, you can allow to handle all paths that have a slash in the beginning and then something or nothing, or for example, all paths that end with .html. There are also some more path parameters, like path prefix, so how the path should begin, path suffix, and I think it's also self-explanatory. And there is also one quite new parameter. It's called path advanced pattern. It was introduced in API level 31, and it allows you to use regex-like patterns. And actually, I decided not to cover that. If you are interested, just check the docs. I can just say that, yeah, if you ever have a problem and try to solve it with a regex, then you may end up with two problems. And also, this actually is not a real regex. It's something regex-like, and only API 31, so also, you know, Android, like probably 5% of the users are eligible. And then when it comes to verification on the server, you need to host a special asset links JSON file in your well-known folder. And basically, it just looks like this. You only need to change your package name to your application ID and then provide the fingerprint. And if you are signing the app yourself using your key store, then you can just use the key tool to generate that. Or if you are using the Google Play signing, then you have to find it in the console. And speaking of Google Play console, they also have a nice section about deep links. So if you have your app already published, you are able to check there which domains you are supporting, which paths, and if there are any errors. Thankfully or sadly, like my current setup is just perfect, so like I couldn't show you an example of an error. And when it comes to iOS, you need to add the associated domain. So you do that in Xcode. You add it as a capability, and it's in the format applinks and then your domain. And if you want to use a custom URL scheme, you also have to define that, and you do that in the info list file. And that's it when it comes to iOS code. The rest is happening on the server. So you also need to host a special file called Apple App Site Association in the well-known folder. And in here you give the app ID, and in here you define the paths that you want to support. And what I like about this iOS setup is that as it's publicly available, you can just check any website that supports, that has an app and supports deep links, and you can check what is their approach. So I took a look at Twitter, and you can notice that they have a lot of exclusions. So not and then a path. You can also use wildcards with an asterisk, and then a pattern that I quite often see when I was playing around different websites is that they have exclusions, and then in the end they just allow all paths to be handled. But that may not always be the case, because sometimes maybe your client will say, no, this can never be opened in the app, this can never trigger the app, so then you just can't use that. And you can also use a question mark to match any single character. Also, fun fact, this is a JSON file, but you don't put the extension at the end of the file. And the file size must not exceed 128 kilobytes. And you may think, oh, that's a lot. So I may tell you that it is possible if the URL structures is not that well defined. And maybe you have to generate some deep links. And a small tip from me, if you ever do encounter that, if you remove the JSON formatting from the file, it looks bad, but it still works. So at least that's one possible fix. But of course, the real fix is improving your URL structure, but sometimes this is outside of your reach. This file must be publicly available, as it's checked by Apple. So also make sure that your website doesn't block bot with this user agent name. And one cool feature that iOS has is smart app banners. So it's basically a banner that you can add to your website, actually with, I think, one line. It's a Safari feature. So you can either send your users to the App Store to download the app if they already don't have it. And if they have, you can just navigate them to that content, to that link in the application. If you want to test your deep links, of course, you can just send a link to yourself and click it. That's one way to do it. Or you can use ADB on Android, or develop command line tools on iOS. And this picture that you can see is the so-called disambiguation dialog on Android. So you may see it if you didn't completely done your verification on the server. So basically you can see it if you are running a debug version of your app and the certificates don't match, then for debugging purposes it's fine to just accept it. So basically the user is asked in which app they want to open the application, but if that happens in your production app, then it means that your setup is not correctly done. But in iOS, if you don't fully do the setup, then the deep links just won't work. And if, for example, your testing environment is using VPN, then Apple provides an alternative mode. So you are able to turn it on and still be able to bypass the checks that Apple is making. Because when the website is protected with VPN, then the Apple bots are not able to verify the links and they're not working. And if, for example, your testing environment is protected with a login and password, then Apple can do that, alternate mode can do that, and someone's gonna be testing deep links on production. As you may have noticed, there are some differences between platforms. So the syntax is a bit different. So we are making a multi-platform app for both Android and iOS, but there is something that needs to be done on the native part. So keep that in mind. On Android, you have no exclusions. And for me, this is just, I don't know, it's so simple yet non-existent. Also, when you are making any changes in the supported paths, in Android, this is inside application code, so each change requires a new app update, while in iOS, the changes are almost immediate, and almost because, you know, the Apple still has to refresh the data. And this is good and bad. Good because, yeah, we like instant changes. This is great. But bad because you may end up with a situation where you already updated your supported paths on the server, but users still have the version of the app that just don't know what to do with it. So they will open it, and depending how you handle the deep links inside, they will either see nothing, like nothing will navigate, or maybe an error. So keep that in mind, because sometimes this requires some, you know, like managing the timeline correctly. So first, I would like to show you like built-in deep link support with Go Router. And before you will start wondering why this one, why not the other navigation package. So this is actually the solution that is right now described in the docs, Flutter docs, in navigation and deep linking sections. So many people may encounter that and start with that. So it's actually as simple as adding those two lines to Android manifest and info list file. So basically, you just enable a Flutter deep linking. And then you have to use the material app router and prepare your router configuration. And as you can see, like I think it's quite visible that it already looks like URL-like, because this is how this navigation work. So it's easy to define the paths that will be handled by the application. And you can easily define path parameters. You can also specify like a closed set of parameters that may be accepted by the application. Also, the routes can be nested. So for example, when you look at this example, if you open the profile page or recipe page, you will also have the home screen behind it. So it's useful if you want to navigate the user and keep the whole stack. And you can also use query parameters. You just have to extract it from the state. And we are defining the routes that will be supported at the platform level. So on the server in iOS and in Android manifest on Android. So if the path is matched at that level, the app will open and try to navigate somewhere. So let's see at this example. The route was matched at the platform level, but here in our navigation, I'm trying to open lunch, but I only support breakfast, dessert, and dinner. And in such case, the user will end up with an error because the route was not matched. And it doesn't look very good, but thankfully you can provide an error builder or error page builder. There are some more options, and you can make it at least a little bit more pleasant to the user. I'm no designer, but yeah, it's at least better. Also, there is a different kind of case. So the route may be matched, like I'll be opening a recipe page of a recipe ID that surely doesn't exist. So you also have to keep in mind that you need to take care of errors at different levels. So even if your path is correct, still maybe at the destination page, also remember to inform the users that a given content doesn't exist. And it's also easy to handle redirects, so you can do it at the route level by just defining how a route should be treated. Or you can do it at the top level, and I think in other navigation packages, this is also called guards. So for example, you can prevent unauthenticated users for reaching profile page, and they will be navigated to login instead based on their authentication state. Oh, this is interesting. Okay. No, never mind. I didn't have the, yeah. So as you may have noticed, I was speaking about Android, iOS, because I identify as a mobile app developer. I still kind of develop for platforms, not for users, but I'm going to change that after this conference. But I wanted to show you that I didn't have much experience with web. And actually, I didn't have to do anything, like apart from the stuff that I already showed you and what I already knew. And I had a website ready and running and with working deep links. And the only thing that I changed is like the URL policy. So I removed the fragments. And as you can see, yeah, here at the top, there is like login page, don't judge. And then if the user comes back and tries to manually navigate through the navigation bar to profile, they will anyway land on the login. And yeah, so as a diehard mobile developer, I was surprised that yeah, that just worked. And I'm stuck. Okay. So that was pretty, I think, easy, pretty straightforward, and it wasn't a very complex example. But I wanted to check some other existing apps. So I was checking how are the URLs looking, and we all love Twitter. So you can notice that Twitter has this pattern that the username is something between after the first slash. Of course, probably they have some like static pages like, I don't know, settings, home. So they are matched first, but afterwards it is assumed that this is a username. And then if the URL has a status, then they probably recognize that anything that is after that is a post ID. Same for Instagram. We have the username, and then if there is a P, it's a post. If there is a reel, there is reel. And this is, you know, like good, okay, like I understand that, I'm guessing you as well. But then I went to Zara website, and I wanted, you know, like recognize the pattern that they are using. So the first URL is a product page, and the other URL is like a category page or landing page for women's shoes. Any guesses? Yeah, so when I first saw the product, I thought, oh, maybe it will be ending with .html, because I noticed that some e-commerces do that. But then the category page, strange. So I checked their configuration, and I was like, huh, okay. So basically, a product is something with a P and 8 or 12 or 16 characters. I wonder what will happen if it will be 11. So, yeah. Then a category page is something with an L and something. And good luck with handling that with the approach that I just showed you. So maybe you could, no, yeah, I don't know. Like I wouldn't recommend it. And actually, we don't live in a perfect world. And maybe if you are a developer that is creating Android, iOS, and web in Flutter, then you have full control over the URL structure, and you can structure that well, and you can identify the URLs easily. But unfortunately, quite often, we are just adding a mobile application to an existing website, and maybe the web team didn't care that much about the URLs because they have their own like ways of handling that. And yeah, we need some kind of patterns to be able to work with that. So sometimes it's better to have more control over how you handle deep links. So there are two popular packages. There is Unilinks and Uplinks. They are actually quite similar. I think Uplinks also supports desktop. The only thing that looks bad about Unilinks is the 0 at the beginning of the version, and that it hasn't been updated in 2 years. But I actually know many apps that use it in production, and it's still working. I even heard 2 days ago Simon, who also said that he's using Unilinks, so like you can go for it. But they basically expose similar APIs. So what you need to do in your app is first you need to check for initial link. So this is what triggered opening your apps. And then you need to subscribe to a stream of links that may come once your app is already running. And then you just have to do all the work yourself, handle the parameters, decide what kind of link it is, and also handle the navigation. Right now, it doesn't really matter if you're using Navigator 1.0 or any other package. You just have to prepare, handle the deep links and then decide what to do. You don't get that much out-of-the-box stuff, but hey, you have a lot of power, so use it wisely. And I'll start with creating a simple deep link repository just to wrap the package. So actually in the example, I'm using app links, but to be honest, I copied this code from a project that is using Unilinks, and I just had to change the names of the actual used methods. So it's always good if you decide to use a different one. It's easier to switch. And I'll be using a block. So after an initialization event, I'll first check my repository for an initial link. And if there is any, I will handle it. And then I will subscribe to any incoming links. And as GoRouter had some features like redirection, well, nothing is stopping you from implementing it yourself. So at the level of processing the links, you can just, for example, define paths that should be switched. So maybe URLs in the web have a home, but you are just handling just the slash. So you can check for redirects, and then you just have to identify the type of the links that you will be handling. So this is a simple example. I'm just checking for like the constant names, but I guess Zara is checking if there is a P with 8 or 12 or 16 characters. And then you just handle your deep links accordingly. So after you know what kind of deep link it is, you can also add the global redirect. So for example, check if the user can go to the profile page, or they should land to the login screen instead. And I used a deep link listener in which you can just decide what to do with a given state. And I'm still using GoRouter, so I'm just using the routes. So the whole GoRouter setup is still the same, just the deep links don't land in there like out of the box. I had to use the external package to get them. And you can just wrap your application with the listener. And also one thing, what you could also do is maybe not initialize it directly, like right in the beginning when you create the block. For example, you can also do that when your main screen finishes loading. So sometimes when you want to navigate and not everything is ready, that may lead to some problems. So yeah. And I would also like to show you some third-party solutions. So you may ask yourself, but why? Everything is working, so why do I even need them? So there are some things that third-party SDKs add and plain solutions cannot do. And the first one, and I think most important one, is deferred deep linking. And if you're unfamiliar with this name, this is basically the technique when a user doesn't have your app installed. They click on a link, they land to the store, they download the app, and still the app is opened in the right place. So the link is persisted through this journey. And why is it important? It's important especially with ads. So recently I was scrolling Facebook and I came across this advertisement of a company that I totally not recommend, like don't buy anything from them. They are no. But I was curious because it says like a decorative stick for the garden with a cat, and I really wanted to see what it is, and I decided to record a video because I thought, let's see how it will work. I will either have a success or failure video for my talk. So I was interested in the ad. I clicked on it. I downloaded the app. Lots of pop-ups, like don't do that to your users, don't do that, and then nothing. And the deferred deep link didn't work, so I lost my interest. I wasn't that interested in a cat on a stick, so I just removed the app. I had my failure video, and this is what you saw. But in a good example, I would be intrigued by the ad. I would click. I would land directly on the cat product. Maybe I would buy it, like I need to work on my garden, and yeah, but that didn't happen. So also third-party SDKs are super useful if you don't have a domain, a website, but you still want to use deep links and you don't want to use custom URLs, as they are not recommended. Also, it provides better fallback mechanisms. You can have link shortening and better analytics and attribution tracking. Yeah. Let me just get out. Okay, and the first one that I would like to talk about is Firebase dynamic links, because hey, we like Firebase, and it's free, and you are able to either use your own domain or you can use one of their page.link websites. And you can decide if the user should fall back to App Store to download your app, or maybe to a URL that you define. And yeah, so you can also have deferred deep links. You can easily create links either in the console, so then it's more of a static links, but you can also do that from the code or from the API that they provide. You can make the links shorter programmatically, so the users are not terrified. And also you can include various parameters in those links, like for example, minimum supported versions. That would be super helpful in the situation that I mentioned before. So you support new type of path, but your app isn't ready yet. And also you can define a social sharing preview. So you can make sure that once the user will share content from your app, it will be actually more appealing to other people. And you can also debug your links by extending the URL with d equals 1 parameter. And yeah, and I see some smiles in the audience. I think many people are prepared to, oh, I'm gonna ask her the question. I'm gonna ask her the question. So you don't have to ask the question. I know Firebase dynamic links are being killed by Google. And I actually found out when I was preparing for this talk. I was so glad that I'm only mentioning third-party SDKs. I didn't prepare a talk about Firebase dynamic links. So basically, there is only this info. It's set to be announced more widely in Q3. And what should we do with that? And also, they said that there will be at least 12 months of time to fully migrate. So thank you, Google. There is also Branch.io, which is a flawless mobile linking and attribution solution. At least this is what they advertise as. And its basic functionality is free for up to 10,000 monthly active users. And this is a very big SDK, so the number of options that they provide is so huge that I won't be talking about them. Like even the docs and the platforms that they are supporting, it's quite extensive. And I have to admit that some of those platforms, the first time I saw the names was in these docs. But I want to show you some few of the features that I found interesting. So I don't know if you know, but iOS 15 introduced Private Relay for iCloud Plus users. And this is a privacy tool that hides users' IP. So users are happy, their privacy is safe, but marketers are crying because deferred deep linking and attribution stops working because this relies on IPs. And Branch.io came with a solution that is called Native Link. And it's as simple as using the iOS native clipboard. So when the user are clicking on their deferred deep link, they are asked to allow usage of the clipboard. And then when they install the app, you can check using branch.io SDK if there is a link awaiting you in the clipboard. And also they have journeys, which is like smart app banners, but not only for iOS. And you can customize, I think, everything, the design. So you can decide whether it should be a pop-up, a banner, an interstitial. Should it be shown when, to which users? And you can, of course, run A/B tests to find the best options. And this is how it can look like. And also there is Adjust, which is maybe not that big, but also quite popular among marketers. So it's also a tool for improving and measuring marketing efforts. And it also supports analytics and deferred deep linking. And also they have like SDK preventing mobile ad fraud prevention. And when it comes to third-party solutions in general, so from my perspective, deferred deep links is a must. And if your app is advertised, then I'm pretty sure sooner or later someone will mention it. It also enhances the marketing and analytic features, and depending on the SDKs, there are many options available. But the thing is that usually it's not the developer's choice. I mean, there is usually marketing team involved, so maybe they will choose the tool based on something that they are already using. And I think for now, usually Firebase dynamic links was something that developers would come up with, for example, in some small startups when they are doing everything and it's free. So I wonder what we will be using next. And as a summary of the whole talk, I would like you to keep in mind that deep linking is super important. And if you want your users to be happy and use your app with pleasure, then you should definitely consider implementing it. You have to keep in mind that each platform has some differences. So even if in Flutter we say that we write one code and run it at least twice, then sometimes the native setup needs to also be done. Also that you don't have to own a domain or a website. You can use other tools for that. A good URL structure saves a lot of time, pain, and tears. So if you are in a position to advocate for a good structure, then definitely do that. And also remember to handle errors at different levels. And thank you for your attention. Here is a QR code to a feedback tool. It's very short, like it will take you 10 seconds. And so I would really appreciate feedback. And actually the slides are linked after you finish the feedback. So it's a small bribe from me. Thank you.